Right now, on to the point. Rain and wind causing damage across California, and things are not over yet. In a To The Point exclusive,
That's learned behavior. That starts at home.
a mother and son share their message to students who used racial slurs against him at a high school wrestling match. Why thousands of California State University faculty and staff walked off the job today. And what could happen in the New Hampshire primary tomorrow as Nikki Haley takes on former President Donald Trump. But first tonight, it was a stormy weekend causing damage across Northern California. This is To The Point, and I'm Alex Bell. Right now, a flood watch is in effect for the Sacramento Valley and Sierra foothills. Take a look at this video right next to me. This is the Union Pacific Railroad track near Dairy Road and Highway 65 out in Wheatland. The floodwaters compromised the railroad. The CHP says the water created a breach and part of the gravel under the railroad collapsed. And right now, the track is closed for repairs. We got Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, who's joining me tonight. Monica, are we in the clear? Or are we going to see some more rain tonight?
Yeah, real quick clarification. Flood watch was canceled earlier today. So just want to make sure you know that we are looking at those flood waters receding at this hour. We still have some areas of showers that are moving through the northern San Joaquin Valley, parts of the foothills as well. A little closer inspection, you can see we're still dealing with those isolated showers in the valley and foothills also for the Sierra. Not much in the way of accumulation, and that's why we're starting to see a lot of the flooding issues subside. Now, in the wake in between the storm systems, we're dealing with another weather element for tomorrow morning. That's going to be our dense fog advisory. It is in effect tonight through early tomorrow through 9 a.m. on the morning commute, dealing with visibility at times down to about a quarter of a mile. Patches of that throughout the region, but something that we deal with in the wake of those storm systems. As you can see with our hourly forecast tonight, we'll stay pretty steady in terms of those temperatures. We'll see periods of some light showers here and there. Our sunrise tomorrow at 7:19, where we'll deal with fog, and on the heels of this weather system, and after the fog, we get to more rain and snow heading our way midweek.
All right, Monica, thank you. Tonight, in a To The Point exclusive, a teenager's wrestling match is now a night that he will never forget. Racial slurs were directed towards him while he was on the mat. And tonight, Omarion and his mother are speaking with our Jeannie Nguyen, sharing what they want students who made those slurs to know.
Let's give it to him. Come on now.
I am that mom, so I'm always excited to see my son compete.
I was zoned in and locked into the match. I was focused, and that was the only thing on my mind.
Last Thursday, Mercedes Overby and her son, Omarion, a Sacramento Intercom High School junior, were at Roseville High School for his varsity wrestling match.
It ends up going to overtime, actually triple overtime.
Come on.
A tense match with shouting and cheering on both sides.
Everybody's chanting on our side from Intercom like, oh, 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 oh. Everybody's chanting on the Roseville side.
But on top of that chanting, these students making inappropriate comments and racial slurs.
I was just shocked, and I was disgusted at the thought that happened to me. And I didn't even know when that happened. I was informed the next day about the video, and I just had no words. If I heard those words during the match, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have broke out in a rage, to be honest, hearing those disgusting words.
As a mom, Mercedes says it's painful to see her own son being targeted.
He plays football, varsity wrestling. He has a 3.86 cumulative GPA, and he's a gamer. Outside of those, he doesn't bother anybody. He doesn't do anything.
Making it confusing for her to understand how this could happen.
To allow my son to be subjected to that type of racism in this day and age, that's learned behavior. That starts at home.
A spokesperson for Roseville Joint Union High School District provided ABC 10 with a statement. It says, in part, racism and discrimination in any form will never be tolerated or accepted on our campus. As we investigate what transpired that evening, we wish to express a sincere apology for any and all offensive comments. We must do better, and we will.
It's a very politically correct answer.
Mercedes hopes the district will take a more aggressive approach.
Expulsion. If nothing less, expulsion. This behavior cannot continue to happen and be tolerated.
But for Omarion, he believes kindness will always win, even to those who hurt him.
I would like to shake his hand, actually. I would want to learn, why would he say those words and those gestures? I would just like to come together as a society, as a generation, and learn how we can fix each other and, and come together.
And Jeannie joins us now. Jeannie, to be clear, I mean, this student didn't even know this was happening while he was on the mat. It wasn't until the next day that he found out at school when the video was circulating everywhere.
Yeah, Omarion told me that this match was his sole priority, his sole focus. So this was literally the last thing he was expecting to happen.
And we know the school district is investigating, but do we know if any students have been identified or expelled or suspended for this?
Well, Alex, the district did tell me that they're investigating this incident and it can't speak to specifics, but does say Roseville High did take some action to address the inappropriate conduct. Now, that being said, Omarion and his mom will be holding a press conference tomorrow morning at Roseville High to continue to demand accountability.
And I do want to say that it makes me incredibly angry when I see people act so ignorant when they know better. I mean, it breaks my heart that this young man had to even experience such inexcusable ignorance. But I do want to say that seeing his interview, I applaud Omarion on his composure, his maturity and strength. And, in 2024, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. We're still dealing with this. We need to do better. All right, Jeannie, thank you.
Of course.
All right, to our other stories tonight. One person is dead and another is hurt after they crashed into a light pole while trying to escape a Sacramento County Sheriff's deputy. It happened just before noon on Watt and Myrtle Avenues. The Sacramento Sheriff's Office says a deputy tried to pull the car over, but it sped off. They say moments later, the car hit a van and crashed into a pole. Deputies say the driver died at the scene. The passenger is in the hospital. The driver was on parole. Tonight, I-5 South near downtown Sacramento is back open after major delays this morning. A jackknife big rig caused a diesel spill and all 4 lanes were shut down. A hazmat team was out there today investigating that crash. And starting today, Sacramento State faculty members are on the picket line. This was part of a system-wide strike happening at California State University campuses across the state. ABC 10's Alicia Machado spoke with strikers and has more on their demands.
We've got the power. Raising their voices and making noise. Sacramento State faculty beginning a week-long strike Monday, with signs in hand, raising awareness from one side of campus to the other.
We're really fighting, for the rights of our faculty and the learning conditions of our students.
California Faculty Association is leading the charge, a union of nearly 30,000 California State University staff members, all standing and walking together during this week's strike, demanding a pay raise, more parental leave, and smaller classroom sizes, among other items.
We want a 12% raise for all faculty, so that includes coaches, counselors, librarians, lecturers like myself, and what you might think of traditionally the tenure track faculty, our professors.
This strike that much more important for Emily Bukowski, a lecturer in geography who has been working at Sac State since 2019.
Teaching 5 classes a semester, 10 classes a year. I make $64,000 a year, even though I have a PhD.
Organizers say the system-wide strike is expected to last until Friday. For some students, that means
all of my classes got canceled. I have 6.
And on the first week of the semester. But Sac State students we spoke with say they support their teachers' cause.
If there's extra money that can go to the professors, it should be.
A spokesperson for Sac State could not address the negotiations, but did say the strike would not impact students' coursework or graduation.
We are aware of the strike that's supposed to be happening January 22nd through 26th. We are trying to make sure our students know that campus is open. Resources are available for students.
In a statement addressing the strike, California State University said, quote, the CFA's demand for a 12% raise would cost $312 million just this year. There are other economic demands such as life insurance increases and raising the minimum pay add up to another $68 million for a total of $380. This is financially unrealistic. The CSU said they have offered the CFA a 15% raise over 3 years, which would mean a 5% raise each year. Also 2 additional weeks of paid parental leave.
And the strike is expected to last through Friday. The university says students should contact their professors to find out if they will be holding classes this week. All right, still ahead onto the point, the debate for the California Senate seat. Who could win the March primary?
We're getting a break in between weather systems as we continue to track another one brewing off the coast, when that will hit and what we're expecting into our weekend forecast.
Plus, a major project on I-80, when it can be done and how much it'll cost. All right, Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods with our weather. Still tracking some dangerous conditions in the Sierra right now.
I know, yeah. It's just the way that the snow came in and the type of snow that's been falling over the course of these several systems since the beginning of the year. So we've got this avalanche warning in effect tonight through early tomorrow. More so for the backcountry, not so much for the ski resorts or highways because they do those mitigation tactics there. But recent snow, the weak layers are well below the surface. So triggers could be people that are skiing or snowboarding in the backcountry, or even wind could produce some large slides possible in the Sierra. This after all this snow came in, 10 to 22 inches for some ski resorts. 3-day rain totals anywhere from 3+ inches of rain to about 1.5 inches. And we're not quite done yet. Flood watch still continues over towards the North Bay area through tonight at 10 p.m. That'll be for Marin, Napa, and Sonoma counties. As we head into the valley, it's back to this dense fog advisory, and that will be what we deal with for the morning commute. As far as the showers, still some lingering showers in the northern San Joaquin Valley, parts of the Mother Lode, and a few isolated snow showers. But the big bulk of the rain and snow is done for now. Still picked up rain for today since midnight, about 1 inch or so for much of the valley, about 1/4 inch right along that I-80 line through parts of the foothills and in through the Sierra as well. It's been a real mixed bag of precipitation. A break tomorrow from the wet weather, more due in for Wednesday. That'll be our second system of the week. It's a real quick mover though. It's just with us for one day. It's not going to give us huge totals for rain and snow, but then another one right behind it for Friday. So we're kind of in this on and off rainy and snow pattern here. For the mountains, we get an opportunity of rain and snow coming in on Wednesday, a break on Thursday. We're right back with the action on Friday and Saturday. For the foothills, we're looking at dry weather on Tuesday, but more rain on Wednesday. And again, late Friday through early Saturday. And you'll notice those temperatures are staying on the warmer side. For the coast, we've got dry weather on Tuesday, more rain on Wednesday. It's going to be kind of hit and miss here for Friday and Saturday along the coast because of the direction and timing of this next one coming in on Friday. We're dry on Sunday, more wet weather by the middle of next week.
All right, Monica, thank you. All right, on the other side of the break, we are counting down to the primaries, the Senate seat up for grabs in California, and what could happen in New Hampshire tomorrow, plus the changes that could be coming to the U.S.-Mexico border. Welcome back. We are 43 days away from California's primary election. Yeah. Let that sink in. And happening right now, the top 4 candidates in California's open Senate race are facing off in a live televised debate out in Los Angeles. Democratic candidates Adam Schiff, Barbara Lee, and Katie Porter, all sitting House members, and Republican Steve Garvey are vying to replace late Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Chances are pretty good that the 3 Democrats might split the vote. And if the Republicans all gather behind Garvey, he would get enough support to at least make it to the fall runoff.
And don't forget, California has what's called a jungle primary, meaning the top 2 vote getters, regardless of party, will face off in the general election. In the race for the White House, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspended his campaign and endorsed Donald Trump ahead of tomorrow's New Hampshire primary. It's now a 2-person race, with polls showing that Trump could deliver a blow to Nikki Haley, his former United Nations ambassador. Morgan Norwood has more on what's at stake.
With just one day to go until voters in New Hampshire head to the polls, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley crisscrossing the state in what is now a 2-person showdown for the Republican presidential nomination.
That's why I'm excited, as tomorrow is the big day.
The two-way stage set after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suddenly suspended his 2024 campaign, setting aside his criticisms of Donald Trump.
You could be the lousiest Republican in America, but if you kiss the ring, he likes you.
To back the former president instead. But Trump, who says he's honored to have the endorsement, in an interview on Fox News said he's not quite ready to consider DeSantis for his administration.
You know, I have to be honest, everything's a possibility, but I think it's highly unlikely.
Nikki Haley has it all on the line here in New Hampshire. She spent 41 days in the Granite State compared to Trump's 15, as he split his time between the courtroom and the campaign trail. Even today, in New York City, where he was expected to testify in E. Jean Carroll's defamation case, the trial postponed due to a juror's illness. Trump's team asking the judge to delay his testimony until Wednesday so that he can be in New Hampshire for the primary.
When you hear Trump speak, what's he talking about? Grievances? the past. He's talking about vendettas. Today he's in court.
Trump maintains an 11-point lead over Nikki Haley with 50% of support among likely Republican voters, according to a new CNN University of New Hampshire poll. Trump and Haley voters say these issues matter most.
Right now, I'm deathly afraid of immigration.
This election, basically the economy and foreign affairs.
And Nikki Haley says even if Trump wins by more than 10 points tomorrow, it's not game over for her. She says the goal was always to be stronger in New Hampshire and will look at her home state of South Carolina to get ahead. Meantime, the New Hampshire Attorney General's office is investigating after reports of an apparent robocall that used artificial intelligence to mimic President Biden's voice and discourage voters in the state from coming to the polls. Now, the Attorney General's office says the message appears to be an illegal attempt to disrupt and suppress voting. It's not known who was behind the calls, though they falsely showed up to recipients as coming from the personal cell phone number of Kathy Sullivan, a former state Democratic Party chair. Tonight, a House Democrat is calling on the Department of Justice to investigate these calls. The Supreme Court has ruled to allow Border Patrol agents to cut razor wire that Texas installed on the U.S.-Mexico border. The justices, in a divided 5-4 vote, granted an emergency appeal from the Biden administration, which has been in an escalating standoff at the border with Texas. The razor wire fencing was installed along the Rio Grande River as part of Operation Lone Star, an effort launched by Greg Abbott back in 2021 to curb illegal immigration. And the Supreme Court's order did not elaborate on the decision, but federal border agents can resume full control of the contested border area while litigation continues. And there's been a lot of work happening along I-80 between the Yolo Causeway and West Sacramento. And it's all been happening since this past summer. But now we're getting an update on when it could be completed. So it's all part of the Yolo I-80 pavement rehabilitation project. A Caltrans spokesperson says the road wasn't built to withstand the population growth and traffic. And right now, the project area is about 11 miles long and should be finished by mid-2026. Here's why.
Because the pavement has to be replaced by the removal of the old pavement, and you have to go down about 2 feet or even more just to remove the old pavement. And then they have to reset everything with the new steel and the new concrete.
Keaton also says when it comes to concrete, you can't pour it too soon. The chilly temperatures could cause the concrete not to cure properly, and then they would have to redo it. In total, the project is estimated to cost $280 million, funded by both state and federal money. Next, on To the Point, the countdown to the Oscars, the local director that could be nominated this year. A big day for Hollywood tomorrow. The 96th Oscar nominations will be announced early in the morning. And this is a look at Hollywood Boulevard, where the Oscars will take place on March 10th. This will be Jimmy Kimmel's 4th time hosting the event, and we're expecting some big names to be nominated tomorrow. And one name you already know we'll be watching very closely here in Sacramento is Greta Gerwig. Will she snag the Best Director nomination for her role in the film Barbie? The St. Francis High School alum was front and center at the Oscars back in 2018 for her film Lady Bird, which took place in Sacramento. Since that moment, Greta Gerwig has been in the spotlight for Little Women and now, of course, Barbie. Gerwig spoke to our Mark S. Allen about the film just last month.
Did you, in your wildest dreams, think Barbie would become all of this?
No, but I hoped it would be. I always believed in it, and I always hoped it would connect, but you never think it's going to be at this level. This is sort of beyond any dream you could have.
I asked you one time, not specifically about toys, but I said, what did 6-year-old Greta Gerwig want to do? And you said, I wanted to be a nun because of the way they dressed. Now, isn't it interesting that kid grew up to direct this movie?
It's true, I did. Well, I also wanted to be a nun because they had a musical, The Sound of Music, and I thought, I would enjoy being a nun in The Sound of Music. But no, I think what I do now feels probably the closest to being a kid that I've ever been. It's like I get to kind of create these imaginary worlds and live inside them. And that feels like basically what it was like when I was playing make-believe on, the playground at Phoebe Hearst.
And you can catch the Oscar nominations in the morning right here on ABC 10. The Oscars air Sunday, March 10th, only on ABC 10. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Make sure you send us an email at tothepoint@abc10.com and let us know what's going on in your community. We always love to hear from you. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.